Uh-oh,
Went on it.
we have a mic issue?
Do you need it unmuted from the?
I'm on.
Yep.
How's that?
You just stop the... Testing 1, 2, 3.
Is on mute. Do you need it unmuted? You want it on? You want the laptop on mute? Okay.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right.
I think we're good.
Apologies for any technical difficulties there. It is December 9th, and we are meeting for the Newton Planning Board. Let's start off with a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. So we have a few things on the agenda today. I'm just going to rearrange the top item here, which is a conditional use permit for a home-based business, just to give the applicant a chance to show up. So we'll just wait till the end of the meeting to see if they are able to attend. The next item we have here is essentially changes to the zoning ordinance that will appear on the ballot.
So this evening we have two zoning proposals that were moved to public hearing for this evening that were noticed. So this is the public hearing where the public has the opportunity to provide comment. I understand that there is not anyone in the audience. But the planning board can either continue working on the zoning. We have a little bit of time if we want to make some. If it was a substantial change, it would need to go to a second public hearing.
Yep.
We can not move anything to the warrant, or the last choice is the board could move the proposal to the warrant to be voted on in March. And that's the case for both zoning ordinances. You're gonna have to have public hearings on both of them separately.
Okay.
Because they are very separate warrants and you would want to move them
Great.
to the warrant as separate items. I can give a quick rundown on the accessory dwelling one, and then we could do the second one if you'd like.
Let's start with the accessory dwelling.
Okay. So the main overview of the amendments to the accessory dwelling unit regulations are to comply with state law. State law change that went into effect on July 1 of this past year. So whether or not Newton moves this to the warrant, it gets approved by the voters in March. Newton has to follow the state law, whether or not the zoning regulations conflict. So you have to follow the state law no matter what. The proposals that are being put forth actually are intended to keep everything that Newton already had on the books, but just reflect the changes in state law. So there were some things related to size. Now just with a building permit, you can get an accessory dwelling if it meets all of the criteria. You are allowed to have a detached accessory dwelling. We took out all reference to retaining appearance that were into there. And effectively, if you can meet the regulations required for a single family dwelling, you are allowed to have an accessory dwelling. The one caveat to that is that if you have an existing structure on your property that is legal, that is non-conforming, meaning it's in a setback, that wouldn't normally allow, if it was a new structure, as long as that building or structure existed as of June 30th of this year, you are allowed to put an accessory dwelling into it. I put the caveat of that you would still have to get an occupancy permit to be able to have an accessory dwelling, so it can't just be like a ramshackle shack or barn. It would have to be brought up to code to allow that dwelling. So I just want to make sure that's clear for folks. That's the essence of the change. There are in what was proposed, while the recommended new language and language to be removed was correct, there are two typos that are in what was the clean version that we put at the end of what was on the town website. It's adding a Y at the end of accessory on one of the lines. And then in two places, it refers to accessory apartment. We had just been going through clarifying the language to be accessory dwelling units. Those changes should just be made for the actual ballot, but they're not anything of any substance. So that would be my one recommendation, is we make those minor tweaks.
Okay.
I can go through with more questions if there are any, but that's kind of the overview.
I don't have any questions. I mean, I think to summarize is we're really just kind of updating the language to meet the criteria of RSA 674.
Correct.
Without any, the minimal amount of changes to address that.
Correct. There are things that Newton certainly could consider for a future town meeting that can expand the ability to have accessory dwellings, size, number of accessory dwellings, etc. But just given timing, that was not taken up on this attempt. It was just compliance with the state law reflecting what you currently have.
Makes sense. And I mean, all the changes, as you mentioned, are available on the website if anyone would like to review that.
Typically on the ballot for this kind of regulation, we would not have the full language on Newton's ballot. It would be a summary of the changes, and it will effectively, and I typically work with the select board to be able to get that language, and also I'll work with Jim and Robin to do that language, but it'll effectively say, are you in favor of the proposed amendments to the accessory apartment regulation to comply with the changes with state law, and A, B, and C of the significant changes, typically how it would be worded.
Makes sense.
The other aspect is the planning board gets to, if you decide to move it or not tonight, your vote of in favor or not in favor would be written as part of that ballot measure.
Understood.
So you technically do have to have a public hearing even if you just open it and close it.
Okay. Well, at this point, I will open to the public for any comments. If there's anyone on Zoom.
And I did not hear anything from Robin or any of the town staff of any comments being received.
Okay.
Yeah, she hasn't said anything to me about anything coming in.
Well, if there are no comments or feedback, then we can close and I think probably vote.
So you would need someone to make a motion either to move it, not move it, propose to change.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and move it forward.
I'll second that motion.
I just want to be with the minor amendments discussed.
Yes, with those
With the amendments.
typos corrected.
Yep.
Do we need to do, because Barbara's on
I think
Zoom?
we need to
Yeah,
do
you
a
need
roll.
to do a roll
Yep.
call vote. So everyone will have to say their name, and you'll have to say whether it was a yay or a nay.
All right. Gibbons?
Yay. Yay.
Bernard?
Yes.
I'm sorry, excuse me.
Oh, sorry.
Eddie?
Aye.
Marchand?
Aye.
And Papa Christos? Very good. Aye.
And then you have Barbara White on Zoom. Jim, Barbara White, she's on Zoom. Go ahead, Barbara.
She said okay via the
It's
back
okay in the
speaker.
back room.
Right. So looks like that is unanimous. And then in terms of, do we need to take a separate vote or like a show of hands for the people that are in favor versus?
Well, that just changed.
That was
That
the
was
roll
it.
call was
Okay.
just the yays were
Yep.
all would be me in
Fair
favor.
enough.
Yeah, yeah.
So at this point, that one will move to the town warrant. It's helpful to have a planning board member be at deliberative session just to kind of explain it, but we do have the background documents. Nothing can be changed at deliberative session. It will be that language put forth in March.
Sounds good. We ready to move on to the commercial district? So that's for the amendment of it, the amendment to allow within the commercial district for multifamily uses to ensure compliance with the revised NH RSA 674-78.
Correct. Change to state law, similar to the one we just discussed, although this one doesn't go, this state law doesn't go into effect until July of next year. So this will be sort of in advance, but you wouldn't have a chance to change it before this upcoming July, so that hence doing it this year. The intent is to allow multifamily dwellings any place that commercially zoned land is. The only change necessary for Newton to comply with that law was to allow multifamily dwellings in your commercial district. Under the state law, you do not have to allow them in industrial zoned districts, hence your light industrial and commercial zone district that already prohibited all residential uses. So commercial zone already allowed single family and duplex uses. If put forth, this would just allow multifamily, which is 3 or more units, which you already allow in several places in town, but in the commercial district, you just did not.
Similar to the last, I will open this to the public for comments or any feedback. And there's no one in attendance or on Zoom, so I will take that as no feedback. Are we ready?
I'll make a motion to forward it, to move it forward to the ballot.
Just,
Another roll call vote will be needed.
And, excuse me, who seconded?
Mr. Papagristos.
On the vote, Gibbons,
Aye.
Bernard,
Aye.
Eddie,
Aye.
Marchand,
Aye.
Papagristos. Aye. And White.
I heard her from the other room.
Yep.
Okay. So that is unanimous. Moving on. We have a citizen's petition for a zoning ordinance amendment.
Do you want me to sort of give the process and background?
If you have a good summary of it, it's
Sure.
essentially the second driveway.
So citizens petitions can be submitted anytime between November 10th and December 10th. This one came in on Monday, so it met that deadline. With citizens petitions, as long as you have 25 registered voters in the town, they can put forth a zoning proposal. The planning board is required to move it to public hearing without making any changes to the proposed language, and then at that public hearing, you also then have to move it to the town warrant without making any language changes. The only real action other than you have to move it forward is the planning board is allowed to either recommend or not recommend that vote, similar to what we just did with the zoning of you agree, you don't agree. That also would appear on the warrant. So the proposal that is before you is from Jordan Piper, who has submitted it. The intent is to amend the driveway permits to allow a secondary driveway when there is agricultural practices occurring on that parcel. So he did reach out to me to state his intended purpose. I offered some suggested language, some of which is what was reflected just to ensure there wasn't going to be conflict within the zoning at that time. I gave him the recommendation given the goal. He chose to go with the language he chose to go with. So the board should have some discussion. You can certainly have discussion now. You can certainly have discussion at the public hearing. My recommendation would be to get input from the road agent as to the nature of what is being requested, but the essence of it is to allow a secondary driveway on parcels that have agricultural purposes, and the location within your existing access management / driveway permitting is for very low volume roads. So it's intended to be on locations where there is not high volumes of roads, for basically not 108. So that is the intent. That's the location of where it has been placed per the citizens petition. And my understanding from Robin is all of the 25 voters were verified, so it meets all of that criteria.
Okay.
Yeah, everything's been verified. Mr. Privero will either be in attendance or he'll give us a letter of what his recommendation is. We'll get that from the road agent. The key thing, like Jen said, is this doesn't open the doorway to like everybody being able to have a second driveway. This is, like Jen stated, as it stipulates, only if there's agricultural business taking place on that property does this pertain to that.
Is there
being able
a
to have a second driveway?
definition around that?
There is a definition of agriculture. It's cited in your existing regulations. Agriculture can mean a lot of things, and agritourism can also fall under that, but it does not mean that someone can just have a single family home and claim agriculture as a use. It doesn't mean that they can have a business and just claim agriculture. There has to be, I'm going to say, a straight face test of yes, is it for agricultural purposes?
When I was looking, obviously when we got this, I started looking through regulations, and I guess I'm confused as to thinking that maybe this, for this purpose, was already in place with the provision for a minimum volume driveway 495 feet from an existing driveway for field use?
Because it still stipulates that the driveway aspect, you were only permitted one under this section of provisions, even on low volume road.
Okay.
And the reason that most communities only allow one access point, well, grandfathered ones certainly exist in town, but the reason that most municipalities have adopted that one access point is really a safety aspect. That doesn't mean you can't possibly have a safe, two access points onto especially larger frontage lots, but curves in roads, steepness of roadways, trees, there's a lot that goes into sight lines, so one of the easiest ways to administer that is typically limiting the curb cuts you have on a road.
And we've dealt with that sightline issue with numerous candidates that have come before us when they're doing all the developments that have been in place. One in particular is the one on 108 where he did his, and then there was the other one on New Boston Road for him doing his because of where it was, the location of it and all of that.
Yeah, and I guess that's my other my other piece of this, and I imagine Mike Privero might, have comment on that, is all the other, kind of offsets between the driveways and everything would still remain in place.
Correct. All of those aspects, you would still require a driveway permit. This, the way it's worded, would allow for a second driveway.
For a very specific
For a
case,
specific purpose, and it would have to, and this is the way this is worded, meets the stated purpose of this section. And that is the access management section.
Yep.
Right.
And including safety and efficiency. So it's not just a automatic, someone gets a second driveway. I just want to be clear about how that translates into practice. So, but your only, other than discussion, your only action tonight is you do have to move it to a public hearing, which can occur on your January 13th meeting.
I'm sorry if I missed it. Is there anywhere explaining why they are asking for this?
There is not. I mean, he certainly could have shown up this evening, or could show up to the public hearing.
Yeah.
And make his justification. Based on my own conversations, there was a desired thought that there should be some ability to have a second driveway for agricultural activities, sometimes for access.
So I'm going to go out on a limb, and they say never make an assumption. However, where he's come before the board and he was granted his slaughterhouse business, is that he could possibly require his own personal driveway and then one driveway to access where he's gonna be doing the slaughterhouse business.
I just want to clarify that that slaughterhouse business did not fall under agricultural practices. He does do agricultural practices of his own,
Right.
which does fall under agriculture.
So,
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're not recommending or doing anything
That's what-
at this point, but.
what I'm saying is he probably wants to keep all his business stuff up in that one driveway over that part of his property, and then he wants his own
But
personal.
overall, obviously, this doesn't just affect the citizen that's doing the petition, it's everybody, and just
Right.
forward thinking, it makes it a little bit, you know, if it passes, it makes it a little bit easier administratively for somebody to apply for this without needing to go to the zoning board of appeals to like put the driveway and do that, so.
And-
Correct. Currently, that would be the
Yeah.
process.
And
you
then,
have.
and then that would be the case, because if it passed, then he would have to come before us.
Right.
In order to get it approved, and then he would tell us his reasoning for the second driveway.
Right.
I will say that is my one, the way the language is presented, my one concern is
It
that,
does not require approval.
well, is that the administration of it becomes a little messy because access management is under the purview of the planning board, but in the opening section of that access management, it then gives that authority to let the road agent be the administrator of it. So, and the way this is written, that's effectively how that would come to be. So it would really be the road agent in granting driveway permits that would have this ability to grant that, which it gets a little bit messy.
Yeah.
That's my one sort of administrative, whether it's a good provision or not, I don't really have a suggestion, but
Well, I guess, I mean, for me, it seems like the intent of this is safety, right? In this town, having multiple driveways and access points
Agree,
and
yeah.
curves and things like that. So I guess
to one,
my
is it safe-
my
is
thing
it
is
safe?
the justification and the wording around this needs to ensure why you need it and this, and how it's still safe.
now there are provisions in the rest of the ordinance that talk about safety and efficiency, and those certainly could be applied. They're captured in the purpose statement most specifically. But as far as, I'll say, justification, we certainly could reach out to Mr. Piper and invite him to come to the public hearing.
Yep.
You know, he certainly doesn't have to, and he is not able to, you are not able to change any of the.
That was what I was gonna ask.
of the
He
ground.
can't either.
Even he
Yeah,
can't at this
okay.
point.
Yeah, understood.
Because, I mean, partially because you had people sign the petition, and that's what they've signed on to, not a wording change. But we're also past the deadline, or as of tomorrow, we'd be past the deadline, so.
All right, so what's our next steps on
Your-
this right now? Just,
Your requirement is to move it to public hearing on January 13th, which is your first meeting in January.
all right,
So I will make a motion to move it to the next meeting in January for a public hearing.
I'll second that.
And you gotta do a roll call again.
All right. Mr. Gibbons,
Aye.
Mr. Berard,
Aye.
Mr. Eddy,
aye.
Mr. Marchand,
Aye.
Mr. Papachristos. Aye. And Mrs. White.
Okay.
Well, at this point, for the conditional use permit that's been applied
I
for,
was about to say that. It sounds like we should move that to our next hearing.
yep, you can just continue the application.
I'll make a motion to move it to our next meeting. The application for the home-based business for Mr. John Kearney.
I'll second the motion.
We have to do a roll call, yep.
Mr. Gibbons,
Aye.
Mr. Berard,
Aye.
Mr. Eddy,
Aye.
Mr. Marchand,
Aye.
Mr. Papachristos. Aye. Mrs. White?
Barbara, the meeting on the 18th is not necessary because the citizens petition came in time for discussion at tonight's meeting. So the next planning board meeting is January 13th.
You have good hearing.
I tried.
That was really good.
There you go.
All right. One last thing here. So we have the acceptance of minutes for our November 25th meeting.
I will make a motion to accept said minutes.
I'll second that motion.
Roll call one more time.
Mr. Gibbons?
Aye.
Mr. Berard?
Aye.
Mr. Eddy?
Aye.
Mr. Marchand?
Aye.
Mr. Papachristos? Mrs. White?
All right.
And I have one thing I'd like to bring up, Mr. Chairman,
Please.
and that's the encumbering of funds that we talked about last meeting.
Yes, the amount of money that is left that you have not paid, so we can do a couple of things. We can bill you for anything that has not been in your fiscal year that is remaining, so you can sort of prepay the next circuit rider payment.
Yeah.
At this point, though, given the amount that we have spent, this is from our last contract and this contract, there wasn't as much funding left to do any extra, as I was given some not quite accurate information from my business manager. There's really not as much, so we can certainly try to have you encumber funds, but I would need to know how much money you actually have left in your line item
Okay.
for circuit rider. So if there's any money left in your this year planning board circuit rider budget, if you would like us to prepay a component of it, because your next bill would be on January 1, so that would be your next fiscal year.
All right. So what I'll do is I'll talk to Paula to see exactly what's left in the line,
Okay.
and then I'll see about encumbering it and have her reach out to you
Okay.
that we can prepay a little bit towards next year's.
Yeah, it makes no difference for us, so if it helps you
Right.
guys, then.
And then that way there, we'll see what happens.
I have just one other thing.
Yeah.
And that is see before you the proposed meeting schedule and application deadline.
Yep.
This is the same meeting schedule of having it be the second and fourth Tuesday of every month at 7 p.m. So you have to accept applications at least 21 days. Typically, just because of noticing and a little extra, we've done about 25. That's kind of sticking on average with what Newton has always done. My one question about application deadlines was making sure, now that Jim has come on board, that a Thursday deadline at noon was going to be, someone will be at least in the town hall to accept the applications. It doesn't have to be Jim, it could be someone downstairs, but that being that application deadline would be Thursdays at noon, about 25 days before the planning board meeting.
That should be fine, right?
That's how it's always been, so I just wanted to make sure that still was able
Yep.
to work.
No, that's fine, because we talked with Jim about that and about he's gonna be
Okay,
in a few days during the week here.
okay.
Accessible.
And
And then if for some reason he can't be, then Robin.
Yeah, worst
can
case, they
always
drop it off
accept
downstairs.
downstairs and then turn it over to him.
The one thing I did make a very small amendment to, because I thought it would help a little bit, is this clause at the bottom that says that the application deadline, it's due by noon on that prescribed Thursday, that new paperwork can be submitted. However, it might not be considered until the next planning board meeting, and that's partially because you need to give adequate time for you to review, me and any other third
Engineer,
party,
et cetera.
the
Right.
engineers, and the public, the ability to review. So if it's something very minor with paperwork, something needs a signature, it's a checking the box kind of action, you might take that paperwork and consider it, because there's not, you have it or you don't. If it's a whole new plan set, if it's like very technical information, you should always accept it, but you may not have the time to review it. Maybe I haven't had the time to review it. Your town engineer hasn't had, so that was the reason for adding that. It just gives you a little bit more oomph.
Yep.
Should someone try to, hand out new plans at meetings.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Keyword in that, may.
Yeah.
Works for me.
And then we took out, there would be no board meeting on town meeting day and when the primaries happen, because you use this room for those purposes.
We're efficient.
You are?
And I'll make a motion to accept this.
I'll second the motion.
Roll call vote. Mr. Gibbons.
Aye.
Mr. Berard.
Aye.
Mr. Eddy.
Aye.
Mr. Marchand.
Aye.
Mr. Papachristos. Aye. Mrs. White.
And so this could get posted on the planning board website. I have had at least one engineer reach out to me about a site plan that's likely to come in for the January meeting. So that application wouldn't have to be in until next week, so. I'm sorry, 2 weeks. It's the 18th.
Says it right there.
It's next week, right? The 18th?
Is it-
Yeah, I think
is
it's
it
next Thursday.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Next
Just not
Thursday.
just flying by.
I feel like
I think.
Same.
I still need to get my shopping done. With that,
So with that, I want to bring up the one thing. So next meeting date would be the 23rd.
There is no application that has come in, and you moved the conditional use permit to your January meeting.
So
you
while
could
we're
cancel.
here, and we've already met the conditions for the one meeting for the month, we could go ahead right now and cancel the meeting on the 23rd.
Yeah.
let's
Mr. Chairman.
do that. So, no, you're right. So we've already met our criteria for the month. No, if no applications and no agenda are in, then we shall cancel it.
Excellent. Be my shopping day.
Good luck.
All right, so that means, Jim, we need to get that posted on the town website that there will be no planning board meeting, okay?
And that can just be a notice. You don't need to do anything beyond
no.
that.
And that any applications that come in will be accepted for the following meeting.
Yep. Excellent. With that, that clock doesn't work. We will adjourn at 7:43. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Budget for a new one.
There you go.